thing that is happening nowadays, and very much connected to the issue of competition, is dancers have lost their joy. You don't see a lot of dancers enjoying themselves anymore, not on any level. I mean, not amateurs, not professionals, certainly not professionals. Because then again, everybody is so focused on the ego. I want to be the best. I want to be the diva. I want to be the star. I want to be famous. I want to have likes. I want to have followers. So there is no space for enjoyment. There's no space to really get into the dance and be soulful and be heartful. There's no space. We don't create that space. The first pillar of happiness that I have personally learned from Egyptian dance is happiness as a default mode. What does this mean? What does it mean, happiness as a default mode? Egyptian dance has taught me many beautiful things, many important things. One of them is this. In dance, as in life, happiness is not the equivalent of being always smiling, always pleasant, always feeling up, always feeling great, always feeling sunny and excited. And no, Egyptian dance has taught me that in order to be happy, we have to embrace unhappiness. And I know this sounds like a contradiction, perhaps, you know, but this is really what I've learned from dancing thousands of Egyptian songs, thousands of good Egyptian musical pieces, is that happiness is a combination of all the experiences life offers us. This is why I call it happiness as a default mode. What do I mean? We build a base where we can go back to, a base of optimism and a base of love and a base of emotional and mental openness, but we are open to going out of that default mode. So if we need to be sad, we are sad. If we need to be hopeless, we are hopeless. If we need to be down, we are down. We do not reject anything. We flow with what life is bringing us, and we flow with emotion. That is very important for Egyptian dance if you want to become an interesting Oriental dancer. Very important, because you don't want to be one of those dancers who is always smiling like a puppet. That's weird. That's really weird. You want to be a human being dancing in a human way. So sometimes you will be smiling because you feel it, and sometimes you will be crying if you feel it, and that's fine. So you're not afraid. Tomorrow I'll be down. Okay, I'll be down, and then I will be up again. And then something else happens. I'm a human. I feel. Maybe I will feel sad, maybe not for myself, for someone else, and then I get happy again. I get joyful again. There are reasons to smile again. And these dynamics, this shift, this constant shift of emotions, this is what makes a great Oriental dancer, but this is also what makes a great life, you know? So the first thing is to build a concept of happiness as a default mode that includes everything, even your dark times, even your shadow, even your sadness, even your tears. It's all part of that game. Okay, it's all part of the game, baby. And the more you accept these things, the easier you digest them, the easier they go away. When I'm sad and I dance my sadness, that sadness starts to release itself. It starts to transform into something else. It's alchemy, the alchemy of dance. Okay, so it's super important when you're dancing, and we're gonna go dancing in this class. Whatever you're feeling, don't suppress it. Bring it. Bring it. If you're not in a good mood, it's okay. You know, dance with a bad mood. I don't care. Bring your truth, right? Own it. And I assure you, at the end of the dance, you'll feel better. Okay. Yeah, the second one, the second happiness principle that I have totally recovered in myself through the practice of Egyptian dance. This is the birthright to pleasure. What does that mean? We have a lot of blocks, okay, that stop us from feeling pleasure. And building a state of happiness that is constant can only be possible if we take pleasure seriously. Pleasure on many levels. So if we're talking about dance, what does it mean, pleasure? It starts with the pleasure of listening to the music. Sometimes I'm not even dancing, I'm just listening and I'm enjoying myself. Okay? When I'm dancing, it means feeling the muscles, feeling the bones, feeling the stretching, feeling the contractions, feeling the way my body is feeling with the music, vibrating with the music. It's feeling my breath, you know? If you just take a deep breath, it feels good. It just feels good. It's so simple, you know? It just feels good. But I have been trained to feel good. I've been training myself for years to feel good through the practice of Egyptian dance and also through my work. When I teach dancers, I teach myself, right? So when I teach sensuality, when I allow dancers to go deep into their body, I'm also learning or relearning how to be sensual, how to be pleasureful, how to be full of zestiness and fire. So the birthright to pleasure, it's about identifying the voice in your head that tells you you cannot enjoy yourself too much. Identify that voice, catch it when it's coming, catch it and say, you know what? Screw you. I'm actually gonna enjoy myself fully. And if others don't like it, if others misinterpret it, if others think it's whatever, it's their problem, it's not mine. My problem is to make sure I enjoy myself to the fullest because I'm alive today. I may not be alive tomorrow. Guys, you know, life is short in case you haven't noticed, and it is not guaranteed. So there is a kind of fire in Egyptian dance that tells you, bring the pleasure to the surface and take it seriously. It is an essential part of Egyptian dance, and it is an essential part of life. Enjoying the small pleasures. Waking up and seeing the light, you know. Waking up and having a tea, warm tea in a cold day. It's a pleasure, you know. Listening to the birds, listening to a song. Going to bed warm, you know, in a cold day. Holding someone that you love. Cracking a joke. Reading a book that is giving you pleasure. There are so many little things throughout the day that can offer us pleasure if we allow them to do it. If we are present with our pleasure. You know, and this may seem very basic, and it is very basic, but it's essential to build a happiness default mode that sustains me throughout life, that keeps me enthusiastic, keeps me strong when things are not easy. You know, it keeps me excited about getting up in the morning when things are not easy, in particular, all right? And excellent, doing my best and enjoying the feeling of it. It's not about how it looks. Of course, when we study dance, there is an aesthetic, visual side of it. We want the movement well performed. We want to know the technique. We want the movement to be beautiful. That's part of the dance. But the problem is, most dancers are focusing only in the looks, the way I look, and they're totally forgetting about the feeling, the way I'm feeling when I'm dancing. And this is a killer of happiness, and it is a killer of magnetism, and a killer of creativity, and a killer of charisma, and a killer of many things. So in this birthright to pleasure, I would add feeling over looks as one of the core principles for happiness and also for authentic Egyptian dance. You gotta consider, how am I feeling? Getting to the feeling of it, not the looks. How do I look? Is my makeup okay? Is my hair okay? Am I looking like a doll? No, you should look like a woman, not a doll. If that means having your hair all over the place, let it be all over the place. It's about the experience, okay? Also, how many of us are able to look at the big picture and say, okay, this is hard, this is not working, this can be improved. But wait a second, this is working. This is beautiful. This is easy. This makes me happy. This is something nice. How many of you are able to see the big picture in your dancing, in your life, and to identify not only what's not working, but what is working, and focus there, every breath. Not only when you're moving, but every moment is a moment, a potential moment of celebration. I'm breathing, you know, it feels good and it's a gift. So I celebrate it and I allow myself to feel good with it. Now, let's go for the third pillar. And for me, perhaps the most important of the three pillars that I'm sharing with you. No perfection, just wholeness. Because we very often confuse evolution with perfection. Improvement with perfection. They're not the same. They are not the same, okay? Is that sometimes you just really have to close your eyes, to forget how it looks, forget the performance, forget the result, and get into the process. Enjoying the process. It doesn't mean you will not want to improve. Of course you do. If you take dance classes, it's because you want to improve. You want to learn more technique, you want to learn choreography, you want to learn musicality, you want to learn the culture. Rest assured, I want to learn more. I'm also always studying, but it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the process when I'm doing it, okay? So it's very important to erase ideas of perfection. And all of you have one, even if you don't know it. What a perfect dance looks like. What a perfect life looks like. We all carry these ideas of what it should be like. It should look like. Oh, I'm not successful if my life doesn't look like that. Oh, I am not happy if my dance doesn't look like that. Or I'm not a great dancer if my dance doesn't look like that. Oh, I am not a great dancer or an interesting dancer if my dance doesn't look a certain way, doesn't fit a certain mold. All of you have ideas like this, even if you don't know it. You know, so it's interesting to ask yourself, what is my ideal of perfection? What is the concept that in my head I have built or someone has built for myself? Because sometimes others build that for you. You know, some years ago I was in Russia teaching, and a beautiful dancer and event organizer, actually she was the organizer of my festival in near from not Yekaterinburg, one of the most beautiful cities in Russia, St. Petersburg. She was the organizer and she was telling me, you know, Joanna, I'm afraid because I'm thinking about cutting my hair short. And my teachers in Russia tell me, don't do that. If you cut your hair short, you will not look like an Oriental dancer. Oriental dancers have long hair. Oh God, you can imagine how I listen to this, right? Oh, okay, so, all right. I told her, look, your hair is your hair, and your hair does not define your dance, and it does not define the quality of whatever you're gonna do. It's just your hair, and it's just an image of what an Oriental dancer should be. That's just an ideal of perfection. It's a construction. But what authentic Egyptian dance really teaches us is that we should show up as we are. We should show up as we are. Short hair, curly hair, long hair, who cares? Who cares? The moment my dance depends on the length of my hair, I'm dead as a dancer. I'm dead. What do I have to offer if I'm worried about the length of my hair? That's not a dancer, right? So identify your perfection concepts. Identify them, because most of us, as I told you, don't know we have them. We follow through in dance and in life with an ideal of how things should look like. Without even knowing, we are carrying that ideal. And we pressure ourselves into fitting that ideal, as opposed to allowing ourselves to dance and to live naturally. Naturally, as we are today, as I am today. Today I will dance in a way, within a week I will dance differently because I'm a different person. Life happens. And dance is alive. Dance is not dead. Dance is a reflection of who we are at every single moment. So forget perfection. It doesn't exist even, you know. There is a quote from, I think, Salvador Dali. He thinks, don't be afraid of perfection. You will never reach it. You'll never reach it. It's almost like a ghost you're trying to catch, but you never touch. You never catch it. So you're going behind the ghost all the time. I should be looking like that. My life should be like this. No, 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 no. Be totally present in who we are, who you are right now. Okay? In this wholeness, you're gonna bring your body, your mind, your heart, and your soul to the table. And this is another thing going against the grind, because as dancers, we're trained for the body. We're not trained in our minds. We're not trained in our hearts. We're not trained in our souls. All right? So there is a big flaw in the teaching of Egyptian dance. And I would say the teaching of every kind of dance, not only Egyptian dance. That is, dancers are trained to work with their physical bodies. And they forget they also need to train themselves in their mind, in their heart, and in their soul. I am not a well-rounded Oriental dancer if I don't bring these 4 areas to the table. And I am not a happy, truly happy human being and dancer if I don't bring all these 4 areas to the table. When I live and when I dance, I'm living from my physical body, yes, but I'm always also living from my mind, imagining, projecting, dreaming, visualizing, creating. I'm also dancing and living from my heart. I'm feeling. I'm loving. I am gaining. I am losing. I am hoping. I'm caressing. I'm connecting with others on an emotional level. That's part of the dance. That's part of the dance. And I'm also connected to my soul. Whatever you may call it, you know, a higher power, your energy, God, the universe, whatever rules this life on this 3rd dimension where we are. Okay? It is super important. So, to finish the presentation and go for the dance, I have a few questions for you, and I want you to write them down. And later on, you're going to send me the answers. You're not going to share the answers right now. You're going to share the answers via email with me later on. Question number 1. Do I allow myself to be fully human in my dance and in my life? Do I allow myself to feel whatever I'm feeling? To go through the ups and downs and honor them and dance them and live them? This is the first question, okay? Write it down. Do I allow myself to be fully human in my dance and in my life? Because this is a key for Egyptian dance, and it is a key for happiness. True, authentic happiness. It's not the happiness of Instagram. You know, yeah, oh, and then everything is falling apart. No, it's really happiness, you know. So this is question number 1. Question number 2. Do I allow myself to feel pleasure? In my dance and in my life, is pleasure something that I allow myself to go fully into or not? Write it down. This is question number 2. And you're going to answer it to me as well, okay? Via email. Question number 3. Do I allow myself to be whole as I truly am? Question number 3. Do I allow myself to be whole as I truly am? Do I allow myself to show up in my dance and in my life fully? Not as an ideal of someone I want to be. Not as an ideal of someone somebody told me I ought to be, but who I really am right now. Do I allow myself to show up at every moment as I truly am? Body, mind, heart, and soul. Or am I chasing a ghost, the ghost of perfection?